3 days now. 3 days since I last slept. It's not insomnia, not really. It's something worse. My brain is like a broken water wheel, spinning and spinning, throwing up the same muddy thoughts over and over until I'm soaked in them. I lie there in bed with my eyes closed, but all I see is tomorrow, and the day after, and next week. Every conversation I need to have, every decision I might get wrong, every small thing I could forget that would make everything collapse. The fear of missing something, of messing up, of losing control. It sits on my chest like a stone. So tonight, I gave up. I threw off the blanket, grabbed my cloak, and walked out into the dark. My feet knew where to go before my head did. Out past the last house, past the olive grove, down the slope to the open grass near the lake. I thought maybe the quiet would help. But when I finally stop walking and stand there in the middle of all that space, the voices in my head just get louder. Like they've been waiting for me to be alone so they could really let loose. What if you forgot to? What if they think you're? What if tomorrow I press my palms against my temples? It doesn't help. That's when I see him. Just sitting there, not far from where I'm standing, maybe 20 paces away, cross-legged in the grass, head tilted back, is less than hush on. 0 hash is greater than looking up at the sky like he's got nowhere else to be. Even in the dark, I know who it is. Jesus. My first instinct is to turn around. Go back. I didn't come out here to talk to anyone, least of all him. I don't have the energy to explain myself, to try to sound like I'm holding it together when I'm clearly not. But he's already seen me. He doesn't wave, doesn't call out. He just turns his head slightly, and even from here I can see the faint outline of his face in the moonlight. He's not smiling exactly, but there's something gentle in the way he's looking at me, like he was expecting me. Then he does something that surprises me. He pats the ground next to him, twice, slow and deliberate. An invitation. I stand there like an idiot for a moment, my cloak flapping in the wind, my thoughts still racing. Part of me wants to pretend I didn't see him and just keep walking, but my legs are tired, and honestly, I don't know where else to go. So I walk over. The grass is longer here than I expected, up to my ankles, and it's damp with dew. When I get close enough, I can see he's taken off his sandals. They're sitting beside him in a crooked pile, caked with dried mud. He doesn't say anything, just keeps looking at me with that same patient expression, waiting. I hesitate. I don't want to interrupt. He shakes his head once. "You're not." His voice is low and even, like he's been sitting here for hours and has no plans to leave. He pats the ground again. I look down at the spot he's indicating. The grass is pressed flat where his hand just was, glistening a little in the moonlight. I think about how cold it's going to be, how the dew will soak through my cloak, how undignified it is to just lie down in the dirt like some kind of animal. But then I think about my bed back home, the one I've been staring at the ceiling from for 3 nights straight, and I realize I've got nothing to lose. So I lower myself down, first sitting, then leaning back on my elbows, then finally flat on my back. The grass pokes through my cloak in a dozen places, little pinpricks against my shoulder blades and the back of my neck. The ground is harder than I thought it would be, and yes, it's cold. The dew seeps through almost immediately. But something strange happens. For the first time in days, I feel like my body is actually resting on something. Not floating, not suspended in some anxious in-between space. Actually held by the earth itself. I take a breath. It's shaky going in, but it's deeper than any breath I've managed in the last 72 hours. Jesus is still sitting beside me. I can see him out of the corner of my eye, his profile dark against the stars. He's not looking at me anymore. He's looking up again, like whatever's happening out there in the sky is more interesting than whatever mess I'm dragging around. And somehow, that helps. He's not staring, not waiting for me to explain myself, not expecting anything. I turn my head slightly and follow his gaze. The stars. God, there are so many of them. I've walked under this sky 1,000 times and never really looked. But out here, away from the oil lamps and cooking fires, It's like the whole thing has been ripped open. A vast, glittering wound. Some of the stars are bright and sharp. Others are faint, barely there, like they're not sure if they want to be seen. And then there are patches where they're so thick they blur together into rivers of light. I don't know how long we lie there in silence. Could be minutes, could be longer. Time feels different out here. Slower, less urgent. The wind picks up a little, just enough to make the grass whisper around us. I can hear the lake somewhere to my left, the gentle slap of water against the shore, rhythmic and patient. It sounds like it's been doing that forever, and it'll keep doing it long after I'm gone. There's a comfort in that. I don't know why is less than #5. 0# is greater than. Jesus shifts slightly beside me. I hear the rustle of his robe against the grass. Then his voice, quiet and unhurried. You came out here because you couldn't sleep. It's not a question. I swallow. Yeah. How long? 3 days. My voice sounds small. He nods slowly, like he's considering this. Your mind won't let you rest. Again, not a question. Just knowing. I feel something tight in my chest start to crack. It won't stop, I say. I close my eyes, and it just spins. Everything I need to do, everything I might mess up, everything that could go wrong. It's like I can't turn it off. He's quiet for a moment. Then he says, "It's loud in there." And that's when I almost lose it. Because yes, it's loud. So loud I can barely hear anything else. And nobody's ever said that to me before. Nobody's ever just known. My throat tightens. I blink hard at the stars, trying to keep whatever this is from spilling over. Jesus leans forward slightly. I feel more than see the movement. Then his hand comes to rest on my forehead. Just that. His palm, warm and steady, against my skin. He doesn't press, doesn't move, just holds it there, like he's listening to something inside my skull. And maybe he is. I can feel my pulse in my temples is less than Hashon. 0 hash is greater than that frantic little hammering that's been going non-stop for days. But under his hand, it starts to slow. Not disappear, just ease. Like something's catching it, absorbing the worst of it. He keeps his hand there for what feels like a long time. Long enough that I stop being self-conscious about it. Long enough that I let my eyes close. When he finally pulls his hand away, I feel the absence of it like a cool spot on my skin. Better? He asks softly. I open my eyes a little. It's the truth. The noise is still there, but it's not screaming anymore. More like murmuring. Background static instead of a full-blown storm. Jesus settles back into a sitting position. He picks up a blade of grass, twirls it between his fingers. You know what I think? I wait. I think you're trying to hold the whole world in your head. He glances down at me, and it's too heavy. I want to argue, tell him he doesn't understand, that I have to think about these things, that if I don't keep track of everything, it'll all fall apart. But the words don't come, because maybe he's right. I turn my head to look at him properly. What am I supposed to do then? Just stop thinking? He smiles at that. A small, knowing smile. Not stop, he says. Just put it down for a while. Put it down where? He gestures vaguely at the ground. The sky, the whole dark expanse around us. Here, with me, let it sit in the grass for the night. It'll still be there in the morning if you need it. I almost laugh. It sounds ridiculous. But lying here in the cold, damp grass, staring up at a sky full of stars I usually ignore, with this man sitting beside me like he has all the time in the world, it doesn't feel ridiculous. It feels possible. I don't know how, I admit quietly. That's okay. His voice is so gentle it makes my chest ache. We'll figure it out together. And then he says something I wasn't expecting. My heart can be still because he is watching over everything. He pauses. Then again, in another tongue I half recognize but can't quite place. My heart can be still because he is watching over everything. The words settle over me like a blanket. I don't know if I believe them yet, but I want to. God, I want to. I close my eyes again. The ground is still cold. The grass still prickly, but it doesn't bother me as much now. I can feel the weight of my body sinking into the earth, vertebra by vertebra, like it's been holding me up for too long and is finally allowed to rest. Somewhere above me, the stars keep burning. Beside me, Jesus keeps breathing, slow and deep, like he's got nowhere to be and nothing to prove. And for the first time in 3 days, I let myself stop trying to figure out what comes next. I just lie there, and breathe. I don't know how long we've been lying here. Long enough that the dew has soaked all the way through my cloak, through my tunic, cold against my back. Long enough that I've stopped caring. The stars are still there, thousands of them, maybe millions. I've never tried to count before, and I'm not about to start now. My brain's too tired for that kind of thing. But it's not quiet. The spinning has slowed down a little. Sure, but it's still there. That low hum of worry, like a mill wheel turning somewhere deep in my skull. I can't make out individual thoughts anymore. Just this constant buzz of unfinished business and things I haven't done yet, and people I might have disappointed. It's exhausting. Jesus shifts beside me. I hear the grass rustle as he moves, and then I feel him turn toward me. Not leaning in, just orienting himself in my direction. Like he's about to say something but wants to make sure I'm ready to hear it. I keep my eyes on the sky. Easier that way. Your mind, he says quietly. It's very loud, isn't it? question. Again. I let out a breath. Yeah. Louder than the lake. He pauses. Louder than the wind. I almost laugh, but it comes out more like a sigh. Louder than everything. He's quiet for a moment. Then he says, I can hear it. I freeze. Wait. What? I turn my head to look at him. He's sitting cross-legged still, one hand resting on his knee, the other picking at a loose thread on his robe. His face is calm, like he just said something completely ordinary. Like he didn't just crack me wide open. You can hear it. My voice sounds strange, tight. He nods. Not the words exactly, but the noise. Yes. He glances down at me. It sounds like a swarm of bees trapped in a jar. That's exactly what it feels like. I don't know why that makes my eyes sting. Maybe because nobody's ever described it before. Nobody's ever gotten close enough to hear it, or cared enough to try. They just see me functioning, moving through the day, and they assume everything inside matches the outside. But it doesn't. Inside, it's chaos. Inside, it's noise. I didn't think. I have to stop and clear my throat. I didn't think anyone could tell. Jesus sets down the thread he's been worrying. He rests both hands on his knees now. Fingers loose, not gripping. Most people can't, he says. They're too busy listening to their own noise. He says it matter-of-factly. No judgment in it. Just the truth. I swallow hard. It's been like this for so long. I can't remember what it was like before. Before what? Before I started thinking I had to keep track of everything. The words tumble out before I can stop them. Every conversation, every task, every person who might need something from me. If I don't remember it all, if I don't plan for it, then something terrible will happen. Like what? I open my mouth, close it. I don't actually have an answer. Just this vague, shapeless dread that sits in my chest like a stone. I don't know, I admit. Just something bad. Jesus nods slowly, like this makes perfect sense to him. He doesn't rush to fill the silence, doesn't try to talk me out of it or tell me I'm being ridiculous. He just sits there, letting the weight of what I said settle between us. Then he leans forward slightly, not hovering, just present. Close enough that I can see the faint lines around his eyes, the way his hair falls across his forehead. Can I tell you something? I nod. That noise in your head, he says, it's not protecting you. It's wearing you down. My chest tightens. I want to argue, to tell him he's wrong, that if I stop keeping track, everything will fall apart. But the words won't come, because deep down, I know he's right. I am worn down. I'm so tired I can barely think straight. And all that thinking is less than hash on. 0 hash is greater than all that planning. Hasn't actually kept anything bad from happening. It's just made me too exhausted to deal with things when they do. Jesus reaches out. Slowly, deliberately, so I can see it coming. His hand comes to rest on my forehead again, just like before. But this time, his thumb presses gently against my temple, right where the pulse is. Feel that? He asks softly. I do. The rapid little flutter under his thumb, like a trapped bird. That's your body trying to keep up with your mind, he says. It's exhausted. I close my eyes. His hand is warm, so warm, and the pressure of his thumb against my temple is just firm enough that I can feel my pulse pushing back against it. Steady, insistent. He keeps his hand there, doesn't move it, doesn't speak, just holds it, and slowly, so slowly I almost don't notice at first, that frantic hammering starts to ease. not stop, just slow. Like something's catching each beat, absorbing the worst of the panic, letting only the rhythm through. I take a breath. It shudders going in, but it's deeper than the last one. There, Jesus murmurs. That's better. He keeps his hand there a little longer. Long enough that I stop being self-conscious about it. Long enough that I feel something in my chest start to loosen. Not unravel completely, just give a little. Like a knot that's been tied too tight for too long. When he finally pulls his hand away, I almost ask him to put it back. But I don't. He settles back into his spot beside me, and I open my eyes. The stars are still there. So is the lake. So is the wind. Nothing's changed. Except something has. The noise is still there, but it's not screaming anymore. It's more like background static. Still annoying, still persistent, but not drowning out everything else. I can hear the lake now. Really hear it. The way the water kisses the shore and pulls back. Over and over. Patient and unhurried. I can hear the wind moving through the grass. The way it makes everything whisper. I can even hear Jesus breathing. Slow and steady, like he's got all the time in the world. Better? He asks. I nod. Yeah, a little. He smiles. Not a big smile, just a slight curve at the corner of his mouth. Good. We sit in silence for a while. It's not uncomfortable. Actually, it's kind of nice. Just existing here, in this quiet pocket of the world, without having to explain myself or justify why I'm here. Then Jesus speaks again. His voice is low, almost like he's talking to himself. You don't have to understand everything, he says. You don't have to figure it all out. I turn my head to look at him. Then what am I supposed to do? He picks up another blade of grass, twirls it between his fingers, Trust that someone else already has it figured out. I want to ask who. Want to ask how I'm supposed to trust something I can't see or control. But before I can, he says something else. I don't need to figure everything out. He pauses, lets the words sit. Then he says it again, in that other language, the one I don't quite know but somehow understand. I don't need to figure everything out, because someone understands it all better than I do. The words land somewhere deep, deeper than my thoughts, deeper than the noise. They settle in my chest like stones dropping into still water, sending ripples out. I don't need to figure everything out. Someone understands it all better than I do. I let the words repeat in my head, not forcing them, just letting them be there. And for the first time in I don't know how long, I feel something that isn't anxiety. Relief. Small, fragile, but real. I close my eyes again. The grass is still cold and damp beneath me. The stars are still burning overhead. The noise in my head is still there, still buzzing. But now there's something else too. A small, quiet space. Just big enough for me to take one full breath without choking on worry. Jesus is still sitting beside me. I can feel his presence, solid and steady, like an anchor. And for now, that's enough. The silence stretches out between us. Not awkward, just there. Like a third presence sitting in the grass with us, quiet and patient. I've been staring at the same patch of sky for so long that the stars are starting to blur. My eyes are tired. Everything is tired. But I'm also afraid that if I close them, the noise will rush back in, louder than before. Jesus shifts beside me. I hear the grass crunch under his weight as he moves. And then his voice, still low and unhurried. Can I ask you something? I nod, still looking up, Sure. What are you afraid of? The question sits there for a moment. Simple, direct. The kind of question that should be easy to answer. But it's not. Because the real answer isn't one thing. It's 100 things. 1,000. All tangled up together like a ball of string that's been knotted so many times you can't find the end anymore. I don't know, I say finally. A lot of things. He doesn't push, just waits. And somehow that makes it easier. I'm afraid of failing, I say. The words come slowly at first. Of letting people down. Of doing something wrong and not realizing it until it's too late. I pause. Take a breath. I'm afraid people will see that I don't actually have it all figured out. That I'm just making it up as I go. Jesus makes a small sound. Not quite a laugh, but close. We're all making it up as we go. I turn my head to look at him. You too? He shrugs. One shoulder. In some ways. Then he looks at me. But that's not really what you're afraid of, is it? Again, not a question. I swallow. What do you mean? He picks up a small stone from the grass beside him, turns it over in his palm. You're not afraid of failing, he says quietly. You're afraid of what happens when you're not in control. The words hit like a fist to the stomach. Because he's right. That's what it is. That's what all of this is. The endless thinking, the planning, the trying to predict every possible outcome. It's all just me trying to hold on to something, trying to make sure nothing slips through my fingers. Yeah, I whisper. Yeah, that's it. He sets the stone down, gently, like it matters where it lands. And what do you think will happen? He asks. If you let go? I don't have to think about that one. Everything will fall apart. will it? Yes. My voice is sharper than I mean it to be. If I'm not keeping track, if I'm not making sure everything gets done, then who will? It'll all just collapse. Jesus is quiet for a moment. Then he lifts his hand and points up at the sky. See those stars? I follow his gaze. Yeah. How many nights do you think they've been up there? I don't know where he's going with this. A lot. More than you can count, he says. More than anyone can count. He lowers his hand, and not once have they needed you to hold them in place. I open my mouth, close it. He's not being cruel. His voice is still gentle, still kind. But the truth of what he's saying lands anyway. They just are, he continues. They rise, they set, they burn. They've been doing it long before you were born, and they'll keep doing it long after you're gone. He glances at me, and they never worry about it. My throat feels tight. That's different. Is it? They're stars. I'm a person. People need me too. To what? His voice is so soft, it almost gets lost in the wind. To carry the weight of everything that might go wrong. To exhaust yourself making sure nothing bad ever happens. I don't answer, because I don't know what to say. Jesus leans back on his hands, looks up at the sky again. You know what I think? I wait. I think you've been carrying a load that was never meant for you. He says it so matter-of-factly, like it's obvious. And it's breaking you. Something cracks in my chest. Just a hairline fracture, but I feel it. I don't know how to stop, I say. My voice sounds small, childlike. I don't know how to just let things happen. He turns to look at me, really look at me. And there's something in his eyes that makes me want to cry. Not pity, something else. Understanding, maybe. Or just seeing. You don't have to figure out how, he says. You just have to stop believing you're the only thing holding the world together. A breeze picks up. It's cold, sharp enough to make me shiver. The grass bends under it, a wave of motion spreading across the field. I can hear it moving, that soft rushing sound, like water. Jesus doesn't seem bothered by the cold. He just sits there, letting the wind move through his hair, his robe, completely unbothered. Listen, he says. I close my eyes, focus on the sound. The wind, the grass, the lake in the distance, still lapping at the shore. Everything moving, shifting, alive. You hear that? Jesus asks. The wind. Everything, he says. It's all still here, still moving, still working. He pauses, and you didn't have to make any of it happen. I open my eyes. Look at him. He's watching the grass bend and sway. There's something peaceful in his face, like he's watching something he helped create and is satisfied with how it's turning out. The world doesn't need you to hold it together, he says. It needs you to live in it, to trust that the one who made it knows what he's doing. I want to believe him. God, I want to. But there's this voice in my head, small and insistent, that keeps whispering, but what if you're wrong? What if you let go and everything does fall apart? Jesus must see something in my face, because he leans forward slightly, not invading my space, just closing the distance a little. What if I told you, he says slowly, that the worst thing you're imagining has already been accounted for? That someone else is already carrying it? I blink. How? He doesn't answer right away. Just reaches out and touches my shoulder. His hand is warm through the damp fabric of my cloak. Because I am, he says simply. And I don't know why, but I believe him. Not in some abstract, philosophical way, but in a deep, bone-level way, like my body knows it before my mind can catch up. He's carrying it. All of it. The weight I've been dragging around, the fear of everything collapsing, the endless trying to keep it all together. He's got it. I feel my eyes start to burn. Not from the cold this time. I don't know how to let you, I whisper. His hand squeezes my shoulder gently. You already are. I shake my head. I'm not. I'm still holding on. With one hand, he says, you used to be holding on with both. I hadn't thought of it that way. Maybe he's right. Maybe just being here, lying in this grass, letting him sit beside me and say these things, maybe that's already letting go. A little. The wind dies down. The grass settles. And in the sudden quiet, I hear Jesus speak again. I can let go of control. He pauses, lets the words sit. Then again, in that other language, I can let go of control because greater hands are holding everything together. Greater hands. I look down at my own. They're resting on my stomach. Fingers laced together. They look small suddenly. Fragile. Not strong enough to hold the world. Maybe they never were. I take a breath. Deep and slow. And when I let it out, I imagine letting something else go with it. Not all of it. Not yet. But a piece. Just one piece. The stars are still there. The lake is still lapping at the shore. The grass is still growing. And I didn't have to do any of it. Jesus' hand is still on my shoulder. Steady, warm, real. "You're doing fine," he says quietly. "Better than fine." I don't feel like I am. But maybe that's okay. Maybe I don't have to feel like I'm doing fine for it to be true. I close my eyes again. Let the dark settle over me. Let the sound of the lake and the wind and his breathing wash over me like a tide. And for just a moment, I stop trying to hold on. I don't know how much time has passed. Could be minutes. Could be an hour. Out here, with nothing but the sky and the grass and the dark, time feels like it's moving at a different speed. Slower, thicker. My back is starting to ache from lying on the hard ground. There's a rock or something digging into my left shoulder blade, and my neck is getting stiff. But I don't move. I'm afraid that if I do, whatever fragile thing is happening here will break. Jesus is still beside me. He hasn't moved much either. Every once in a while I hear him shift his weight, hear the grass rustle under him. But mostly he's just still. It's unnerving, honestly, how comfortable he seems doing nothing. I'm not good at that. Doing nothing. Even now, lying here trying to rest, part of my brain is already making lists. Things I need to do tomorrow. Conversations I need to have. Problems I should be thinking through. It's quieter than it was before. Sure. But it's still there. Always there. Jesus clears his throat softly. What are you thinking about? I almost laugh. Everything. Still? Yeah. I press my palms against my eyes. I can't turn it off, even when I want to. It just keeps going. He's quiet for a moment. Then he says, "Okay is less than #5. 0 hash is greater than just that. Okay." Not disappointed. Not frustrated. Just accepting. I drop my hands and look over at him. He's sitting with his arms wrapped around his knees now, chin resting on his forearms. relaxed, like he could sit like that for days and not get uncomfortable. I have an idea, he says. What? He turns his head to look at me. For the next little while, we're going to do nothing. I blink. We're already doing nothing. No, he says. You're lying there thinking about everything you're not doing. That's not nothing. That's just worry with your eyes closed. I feel my face get hot. Because he's right. What I mean is, he continues, we do absolutely nothing. No thinking. No planning. No solving. He pauses. We just lie here. Listen to the wind. Watch the stars. Let everything else go. My stomach tightens. I don't know if I can do that. I know, he says gently. That's why we're going to practice. Practice doing nothing. The idea is so absurd I almost want to argue. But there's something in his voice that stops me. He's not mocking me. He really means it. How do you practice doing nothing? I ask. He shifts so he's lying down beside me, flat on his back, arms at his sides, face turned up to the sky. Like this, he says. You stop trying to do anything. You just be. Just be. I repeat the words like they're in a foreign language. Just be. I look up at the stars. They're still there. Still burning. Still not asking anything of me. Okay, I say finally. I'll try. Good. His voice is already getting softer. Slower. Now, close your eyes if you want. Or keep them open. Doesn't matter. I keep them open. Closing them feels too vulnerable. Feel the ground under you, he says. Notice how it's holding you. You don't have to do anything to stay on it. It's just there. Solid. Steady. I focus on that. The hardness of the earth beneath me. The way it doesn't give. doesn't shift. The rock digging into my shoulder blade is annoying, but it's also proof that I'm here, anchored. Now listen, Jesus continues. What do you hear? I listen. The lake, still doing its thing. Slap, pull back, slap, pull back, over and over. The wind in the grass, it's gentler now than before, just a whisper. And his breathing, slow, even, like he's already half asleep. I hear the water, I say quietly, and the wind. Good, he murmurs. Just listen to that for a while. Don't try to think about it. Just hear it. I try. At first it's hard. My brain wants to latch onto something, wants to analyze, categorize, to make sense of things. I catch myself thinking, the water sounds closer than before. I wonder if the tide is coming in. Do they have tides on this lake? I should ask someone. And then I realize I'm doing it again. Thinking, planning. I take a breath, let it out, try again. Just the sound, just the water. Slap, pull back, slap, pull back. It's rhythmic, almost hypnotic. I let my eyes close this time. The darkness behind my eyelids is softer than the sky, less overwhelming. There you go, Jesus says softly, like he can tell. But then another thought creeps in. What if I fall asleep out here? What if someone comes looking for me? What if? Hey, his voice cuts through gently. I can feel you tensing up again. I didn't realize I was. But now that he says it, I notice my shoulders are up near my ears. My jaw is clenched. Sorry, I mutter. Don't apologize, he says. Just notice it, and then let it go. Let it go. He makes it sound so easy. I don't know how, I say. Again, I feel like I keep saying that. You do, he says. You just did it a second ago. When you were listening to the water, you forgot to be tense. Forgot. Maybe that's the trick. Not forcing myself to relax, but just forgetting to hold on. I focus on the water again. Let the sound fill up the space where the thoughts usually are. Slap, pull back. Slap, pull back. My shoulders start to drop, just a little. That's it, Jesus murmurs. You're doing it. Am I? It doesn't feel like I'm doing anything, which I guess is the point. A thought floats by, something about tomorrow. But this time, instead of grabbing onto it, I just let it drift past, like a leaf on the surface of water. There, and then gone. Another one comes. Something about a conversation I need to have. I notice it, and then I let it go too. It's strange. The thoughts don't stop coming, but they're not sticking anymore. They're just passing through. You feel that? Jesus asks. Yeah, I breathe. I think so. That's what it feels like to rest, he says. Not sleep, just rest. To stop working so hard. I never thought of thinking as work. But it is, isn't it? All that holding, all that gripping, all that trying to keep everything in my head at once. It's exhausting. This moment right now, Jesus says, is less than Haishon. 0 hash is greater than his voice, barely above a whisper. This is enough. You don't need to do anything else. You don't need to be anywhere else. You're exactly where you need to be. Something in my chest loosens. Just a fraction. Like a knot that's been tied for so long I forgot it was there. And now someone's found the end of the string. wind picks up again. I feel it move across my face, cool and clean. It smells like water and grass and earth, like growing things. I breathe it in, hold it, let it out. And for just a moment, there's nothing in my head at all. Just the wind, just the sound of the lake, just the feeling of the ground beneath me and the sky above me, and Jesus breathing beside me. It only lasts a second, maybe two. And then the thoughts come rushing back. But it happened. That moment of absolute nothing. I felt it. Did you feel that? Jesus asks, and there's something almost excited in his voice, like a teacher watching a student finally understand something. I think so, I say. My voice sounds different, softer. That's what I want you to come back to, he says. Whenever the noise gets too loud, whenever you feel like you're drowning in your own head, just come back to this, to the sound of water, to the feeling of breathing, to doing absolutely nothing except being here. I nod, even though my eyes are still closed. Right now, he says, in this moment, I don't need to do anything. He pauses, lets the words settle. Then again, in that other language, right now, I don't need to do anything. I only need to be here. I only need to be here. Not somewhere else. Not in the future. Not in the past. Just here. In this cold, damp grass, under this vast sky, beside this man who somehow knows exactly what I need to hear. I repeat the words in my head, slowly, deliberately. I don't need to do anything. I only need to be here. Another thought tries to muscle its way in. Something about how long I've been gone, whether people are worried. I notice it. And then I let it drift past. The lake keeps lapping. The wind keeps blowing. The stars keep burning. and I just lie here, doing nothing. For the first time in I don't know how long, I'm not trying to fix anything. I'm not trying to figure anything out. I'm not trying to be anything other than exactly what I am right now. Tired, confused, a little cold, but here. And maybe, for now, that's enough. I don't know when it starts. The crying. One moment I'm lying there, listening to the water, trying to keep my thoughts from spinning off again. And the next moment I feel something warm sliding down the side of my face. A tear. Then another. I'm not sobbing, not making any noise. It's just leaking out. Like I've been holding water behind a dam for so long that the dam finally cracked. And now it's just coming through. Slow and steady. I don't even know why I'm crying. Not sad, exactly. Not happy either. Just something. Something that's been sitting inside me for weeks, maybe months, and now it's finally moving. I try to stop it. Press my palms against my eyes. Take a breath. But that just makes it worse. The tears come faster. Jesus doesn't say anything. I can feel him beside me, still lying there in the grass. He's not moving, not asking what's wrong, not trying to fix it. He's just there. And somehow that makes me cry harder. Because nobody ever just sits with it. With me. They always want to know what happened, what they can do, how to make it better. And I end up having to manage their discomfort on top of my own. But Jesus isn't uncomfortable. He's calm, patient, like he was expecting this. I turn my head away from him. Is less than hay shown. Zero hash is greater than embarrassed. Wipe at my face with the back of my hand. The tears won't stop. Sorry, I manage to say. My voice comes out thick and strange. For what? His voice is so gentle it almost undoes me. For I don't even know how to finish the sentence. For falling apart. For being a mess. For not being able to hold it together. You don't need to apologize for being tired, he says quietly. Tired. That's what this is. Not sadness, not fear. Just bone-deep, soul-crushing exhaustion. I'm so tired. Tired of thinking. Tired of worrying. Tired of trying to keep everything from falling apart. Tired of pretending I'm fine when I'm not. Tired of carrying all of it alone. The tears keep coming. I give up trying to stop them. I feel Jesus shift beside me. The grass rustles, and then his hand is on my shoulder. Not grabbing, not pulling, just resting there, warm and steady and real. The weight of it. God, the weight of it. It's not heavy, but I feel it. Feel the pressure of his palm against the fabric of my cloak, the heat of his skin seeping through. It's an anchor, a reminder that I'm not alone out here in the dark. You've been carrying a lot, he says. Not a question, just a fact. I nod. Can't speak yet. His hand doesn't move, doesn't pat or rub or do anything, just stays. I see it, he continues. His voice is low, steady, all of it. The things you show people and the things you don't. The way you smile when you're barely holding on. The way you lie awake at night, going through everything you did wrong that day. My chest tightens. How does he know that? I see how hard you're trying, he says. How much you give. How little you keep for yourself. I swallow hard. The tears are streaming now, hot and steady. You're exhausted, he says simply, and you think you're not allowed to be. That break something in me. Because he's right. I don't feel allowed. Everyone else has it harder. Everyone else is dealing with more. Everyone else has real problems. What right do I have to be tired? You're allowed, Jesus says, like he can hear my thoughts. You're allowed to be tired. You're allowed to need rest. You're allowed to stop. His hand presses a little firmer against my shoulder. Not controlling, just grounding. You've done enough, he says. I shake my head. I haven't. The words come out choked. There's still so much. You've done enough, he repeats, firmer this time. For today, for this week, for this moment, you've done enough is less than #5. 0 hash is greater than I want to argue. Want to list all the things I haven't finished. All the ways I've fallen short. All the people I've let down. But I can't. Because something in his voice won't let me. You've done enough, he says again. Quieter now. Really. You have. And I don't know why, but I believe him. Not in my head. My head is still making lists. Still tallying up all my failures. But somewhere deeper, somewhere in my chest, in my bones, I believe him. I've done enough. The crying slows. Not stops, but eases. My breath comes in shaky, uneven gulps, but it comes. Jesus' hand is still on my shoulder. I can feel the calluses on his palm. Rough, worker's hands. Hands that know what it's like to be tired. Can I tell you something? He asks. I nod. You don't have to earn rest, he says. You don't have to be productive enough to deserve it. You don't have to finish everything before you're allowed to stop. He pauses. Rest isn't a reward. It's a gift. A gift? I turn that over in my mind. I've never thought of it that way. Rest is what you get when you've earned it. When you've done everything you're supposed to do. When you've proven you deserve it. But a gift doesn't work like that. You don't earn a gift. You just receive it. I don't know how to do that, I whisper. I know, he says, but you're learning. Am I? It doesn't feel like learning. It feels like collapsing. Collapsing is okay too, he says. And I realize I must have said that out loud. Sometimes you have to fall apart before you can be put back together. I close my eyes. The tears are still there, but they're softer now, quieter. Jesus shifts again. His hand leaves my shoulder. For a second, I feel the loss of it, the sudden cold where his palm was. But then he's closer. Not crowding me, just nearer. I can feel the warmth of him beside me now. Solid, present. You're not alone in this, he says softly. You never were. I open my eyes. Look over at him. He's propped up on one elbow now, looking down at me. His face is shadowed, but I can see his eyes. Kind, steady, not pitying, just seeing. I know it feels like it, he continues. I know you've been doing this by yourself for so long you forgot what it's like to have someone carry it with you. But I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere. Something in my throat catches. All of it, he says. The worry, the fear, the exhaustion. I see it, and I'm holding it with you. Holding it with me. Not taking it away, not fixing it, just holding it. The wind picks up a little, cool against my wet face. I shiver. Jesus reaches down and adjusts my cloak, pulling it up over my shoulder where it had slipped down. Such a small gesture, but it feels enormous. My weariness is seen, he says quietly. He pauses. lets it sit. Then again, my weariness is seen. My burden is carried. My weariness is seen. I let the words settle into me, into that deep place where I've been hiding how tired I am, how heavy everything feels. My burden is carried. Not by me, not alone. The tears start again, but they're different now. Lighter somehow, like something breaking open instead of breaking down. Jesus doesn't move, doesn't tell me it's okay or that I should stop crying. He just stays. And that's enough. More than enough. I lie there and let myself cry. Really cry. Not trying to muffle it or hide it or make it more acceptable. Just letting it out. The lake keeps doing its thing. Slap and pull back. Slap and pull back. Patient. Rhythmic. Like breathing. The stars keep burning. The grass keeps growing. And Jesus keeps sitting beside me, one hand resting near my shoulder, close enough to touch, but not touching. Just there. Eventually the tears slow, then stop. I feel wrung out, empty in a way that doesn't feel bad, like I've been carrying around a bucket full of stones and I finally tipped it over. My eyes are swollen, my face is wet, my throat is raw. But I feel lighter. Better? Jesus asks softly. I nod. Yeah, I think so. He settles back down beside me, flat on his back again, arms at his sides. Good, he murmurs. That's good. We lie there in silence. The kind of silence that feels full instead of empty. I can still feel the heaviness, the tiredness. It hasn't disappeared. But it it doesn't feel like mine alone anymore. It feels shared. And that changes everything. The air feels different now. Clearer, maybe. Or lighter. I don't know. But something's changed. My face is still damp from crying. I can feel it drying in the cool air, pulling tight across my cheeks. My eyes are puffy. Everything feels tender. But the noise in my head is quieter. Not gone. Still there. But it's like the volume's been turned down. Like I'm hearing it from the next room instead of right in my ear. Jesus is still lying beside me. I can hear him breathing, slow and steady, like always. In and out, in and out. I try to match it, my breath to his. It's harder than it sounds. My breathing wants to be quick and shallow, anxious. His is deep, unhurried. I take a breath in, hold it, let it out slow. Better. You're thinking again, Jesus says quietly. I almost laugh. Yeah. What about? I hesitate. I don't know. Everything. Nothing. I pause. It's like, even when I try to stop, my brain just keeps going. Like it doesn't know how to be quiet. He shifts slightly. I hear the grass crunch. Look up, he says. I do. The sky is enormous. I keep forgetting that. Out here, away from everything, the sky feels like it goes on forever. See those clouds? Is less than #5. 0 hash is greater than. I squint. At first I don't see any. Just stars. But then I notice them. Thin wisps moving across the black. Barely visible except when they pass in front of a star and dim it for a second. Yeah, I say. Watch them, he says. Just for a minute. watch. They're moving slowly, drifting from one side of the sky to the other. I pick one and follow it with my eyes. It stretches out, gets thinner, and then it's gone, dissolved into nothing. Another one takes its place. Same thing, drifting, thinning, gone. They don't stay, do they? Jesus says. No, I say. They just move through. Right. He pauses. Your thoughts are like that. I turn my head to look at him. He's still watching the sky. They come, he continues. They pass. They go. He glances at me. The problem is, you keep grabbing onto them, holding them, turning them over and over like there's something you need to solve. I know he's right, but I don't know what else to do. What if it's important? I ask. What if it's something I need to remember? Then it'll come back, he says simply. Important things don't disappear just because you let them float by once. I think about that. It makes sense, I guess. But it feels risky. Like if I don't grab onto every thought that comes through, is less than hash shown. 0 hash is greater than I'll lose something vital. Jesus sits up. Slowly, like he's got all the time in the world. He crosses his legs and rests his hands on his knees. Try something with me, he says. Okay. Close your eyes. I do. The darkness behind my eyelids is softer than the sky, warmer. Now, he says, I want you to notice what you're thinking about. Don't try to change it. Just notice. I wait. It doesn't take long. Almost immediately, a thought pops up. Something about tomorrow. Something I forgot to do today. Got one? Jesus asks. Yeah. Good. Now imagine it's a cloud. His voice is calm, patient. See it floating there in front of you. You don't have to do anything with it. Just watch it. I try to picture it. The thought as a cloud. It's strange at first. Feels forced. But then I see it. A small, gray shape. Just sitting there. Now let it move, Jesus says. Don't push it away. Don't grab onto it. Just let it drift. I imagined it moving. Slowly at first, then a little faster. It floats to the left, gets smaller, and then it's gone. There, Jesus says softly. That's it. I open my eyes. Look at him. That's all? He smiles. That's all. It seems too simple. But what if I need to think about it later? Then you will, he says. But right now, in this moment, you don't. He tilts his head. Right now you're here, in this grass, under this sky. That thought can wait. I close my eyes again. Try it with another thought. This one's about a conversation I had last week. Something I said that maybe came out wrong. I've been replaying it in my head for days. I picture it as a cloud. Darker this time. Heavier. It doesn't want to move. I can feel myself wanting to grab it, pull it closer, examine it again, figure out what I should have said instead. But I don't. I just watch it. Slowly, so slowly, it starts to drift. To the right this time. It gets fainter, less solid. And then it's gone. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. How does that feel? Jesus asks. I think about it. Weird, I say honestly. But lighter? Lighter, he repeats. Yeah, that's what happens when you stop holding everything so tight. another thought comes. This one's about something I need to do next week. Something important. I almost grab it. Almost start planning. But then I remember. Cloud. I picture it. Watch it drift. Let it go. It's still hard. My instinct is to hold on, to chase after it. But I don't. That's it, Jesus says. I didn't realize he was watching me. You're getting it. Am I? It doesn't feel like I'm getting anything. It feels like I'm just letting things slide past me. That's exactly what you're doing, he says. And again, I must have said it out loud. And that's exactly what you need to do. I open my eyes, look up at the real sky, the real clouds. They're still moving, still drifting, still disappearing. Your mind isn't broken, Jesus says. It's just doing what minds do. Thinking, producing thoughts. He picks up a blade of grass, twirls it. The problem isn't the thoughts. It's what you do with them. I don't know what else to do, I say. If I don't think about things, how will I remember them? How will I solve them? There's a difference, he says, between thinking about something when it's time to think about it and churning through the same thoughts over and over because you're afraid of what happens if you stop. That hits. Because that's what I do. I churn. I replay. I rehearse conversations that haven't happened yet. I obsess over mistakes I made years ago. And none of it helps. So what do? My voice comes out smaller than I mean it to. You practice, he says, what we just did, over and over. He tosses the blade of grass aside. When a thought comes that you don't need right now, you let it float past, like a cloud. What if I can't tell the difference, I ask, between thoughts I need and thoughts I don't? He looks at me, really looks at me. "You'll know," he says. "The ones you need will feel different, clearer. The ones you don't will feel sticky, repetitive, like you've thought them 100 times already." Sticky? Yeah. That's exactly what they feel like. I close my eyes again, wait for the next thought. It comes. Something about money, about not having enough, about what might happen if. Cloud. I picture it. Watch it form. Watch it drift. It tries to stick, tries to pull me in. But I don't let it. I just watch. And slowly, it moves. Another thought. Another cloud. Then another. I let them all pass. Some are easier than others. Some drift away quickly. Others hover for a while, demanding attention. But eventually, they all move. My thoughts can flow, Jesus says softly. He pauses. Then again, my thoughts can flow. They don't need to be held tight. My thoughts can flow. I repeat it in my head. Let the words become their own kind of cloud. Drifting, settling. They don't need to be held tight. I've been holding them so tight for so long, white-knuckling every thought that passes through, terrified of missing something, of forgetting something, of losing control. But maybe I don't have to. Maybe I can just let them move. I open my eyes. The sky is still there. The clouds are still drifting. Jesus is watching me. There's something in his face. Pride, maybe. Or just recognition. Like he sees me trying, and that's enough. "You're doing it," he says. "It's hard," I say. "I know." He nods. "But you're doing it anyway." Another thought comes. I notice it. Let it pass. Then another. Then another. And somewhere between one cloud and the next, I realize something. There's space now. Space between the thoughts. Little pockets of quiet. Not silence exactly. I can still hear the lake, the wind, Jesus breathing. But inside my head, there's space. And in that space, I can breathe. I don't know when I started paying attention to it. His breathing. We've been lying here for I don't even know how long anymore. Long enough that I've lost track. Long enough that the cold from the ground has worked its way all the way through my cloak, through my tunic, into my skin. But I'm not shivering anymore. My body has adjusted, or maybe I've just stopped caring. The tears dried a while ago, left my face tight and sticky. I should probably be embarrassed about that, but I'm too tired to be embarrassed. Too emptied out. Jesus is still beside me. He shifted at some point, turned onto his side facing me. Not staring. His eyes are closed. But I can tell he's not asleep. There's something about the way he's lying there. Relaxed, but present. Like he's resting without leaving. And he's breathing so slowly. I mean, I've been around people my whole life. I know what breathing sounds like. But this is different. His breath is deep, measured, like he's doing it on purpose, except it doesn't seem effortful at all. In, hold, out, hold, it's rhythmic, almost musical, like the lake, but slower. I find myself counting without meaning to. In for 4. Hold for 2. Out for 6. Hold for 2. Or maybe it's 5 and 3 and 7. I can't tell exactly, but there's a pattern to it, a steadiness. My own breathing is a mess by comparison. Shallow and quick, catching in my throat, like I'm trying to breathe around something stuck in my chest. I take a deeper breath, try to slow it down. But it feels forced, unnatural, like I'm holding my breath instead of breathing. Jesus' breathing doesn't change. Still that same deep, slow rhythm. In, hold, out, hold. I try again. This time I don't force it. I just listen. Let the sound of his breath fill the space between my own thoughts. In, out. There's something soothing about it. The way it's so constant, so unhurried. Like he's got all the time in the world and nothing to prove. I breathe in when he breathes in. Not perfectly. I'm still a beat behind. But I'm trying. Out when he breathes out. My breath is still shallower than his. Quicker. But it's starting to stretch. Starting to find a little more space. Jesus opens his eyes. Just barely. Looks at me through half-lowered lids. You're matching my breath, he says quietly. I freeze, like I've been caught doing something I shouldn't. Sorry, I say automatically. He smiles, just a little. Don't be sorry. It's good. It is less than #5. 0 hash is greater than, yeah. He shifts slightly, propping his head up on his hand. Your body knows what it needs. It's trying to find a rhythm that feels safe. Safe. I've never thought of breathing as something that could feel safe or unsafe. It's just breathing. something you do without thinking about it. You've been breathing too fast for too long, Jesus says. Like you're always running from something, even when you're lying still. He's right. Again. I can feel it now that he said it. That tightness in my chest. That sense of never getting quite enough air. Like I'm always one breath away from panic. What if I breathe with you? I ask. The words come out small, uncertain. I'd like that, he says simply. He closes his eyes again, settles back down, and then he takes a breath. Slow, deep, deliberate. I watch his chest rise. See the way his whole body participates in it. Not just his lungs, but his belly, his shoulders, everything. I try to do the same. Breathe in. Let my stomach expand. Feel the air go all the way down. It's harder than it looks. My chest wants to do all the work. My shoulders want to hitch up. I have to consciously relax them. Jesus breathes out. Long and slow, like he's letting go of something heavy. I breathe out too. Not as long, not as smooth, but I'm trying. Don't force it, he murmurs without opening his eyes. Just let it happen. Let it happen. That's harder than it sounds. I'm used to controlling everything, making things happen. But breathing, you can't really control breathing. Not for long anyway. I take another breath. This time I try not to think about it so much. Just let my body do what it wants to do. In. The air is cold going in, sharp in my nose, but it warms as it goes down. Hold. Just for a moment, not straining, just pausing. Out. feel my shoulders drop. Just a fraction. But I feel it. Jesus is still breathing beside me. That same steady rhythm. And slowly, without really trying, I start to fall into sync with him. In when he breathes in, out when he breathes out. It's not perfect. Sometimes I'm a little ahead, sometimes a little behind. But we're moving together. Two people breathing the same air at the same pace. And something strange starts to happen. The noise in my head, the constant chatter, it starts to quiet. Not disappear, but fade into the background, like turning down the volume on a radio. Because I can't think and breathe like this at the same time. Not really. The breathing takes up all the space. In, out, in, out. My body starts to feel heavier. Not in a bad way, in a sinking way, like I'm melting into the ground beneath me. Each exhale, I sink a little deeper. Into the grass, into the earth, into this moment. I can feel the cold and the damp and the hardness of the ground. But it doesn't bother me anymore. It's just there, part of where I am. Jesus' breathing is like a metronome, steady and reliable. Something to hold on to when everything else feels uncertain. I realize I'm not thinking about tomorrow anymore. Not worrying about what I need to do. Not running through conversations in my head. I'm just here. Breathing. In, out. My heart rate is slowing down. I can feel it. That frantic hammering that's been going non-stop for days. It's easing, settling into something calmer. Something that matches the rhythm of my breath. There, Jesus says softly. You feel that? I do. whole body is finally remembering how to rest. Not sleep, just rest. Just be. This is what peace feels like, he says. Not the absence of trouble, just this. Your breath, your body, the ground under you, the sky above you. He pauses, takes another slow breath. You don't have to go looking for it, he continues. It's already here, in every breath, in every moment you choose to slow down and notice. I want to ask how do I remember this when I'm back home? When the noise rushes back in? When everything feels too fast and too loud again? But he answers before I can ask. You come back to your breath, he says. Whenever you need to, wherever you are. Just close your eyes if you can, and breathe. Slow and deep, like this. He demonstrates. In, hold, out, hold. And if you can't remember how, he says, just remember me. Remember lying here in the grass. Remember the sound of the lake. Remember this rhythm. I nod, though I don't know if he can see it with his eyes closed. We breathe together for a while longer. I don't count how many breaths. Don't keep track. Just let them come and go. The wind picks up slightly. I feel it move across my face, cool and clean. It smells like water and growing things. Jesus speaks again, quiet, almost like he's talking to himself. I can slow down, pause, I can slow down because his rhythm is my peace. His rhythm is my peace. I let the words sink in with each breath. In, I can slow down. Out, his rhythm is my peace. In, I can slow down. Out, his rhythm is my peace. My body knows this is true before my mind does. I can feel it in the way my muscles are releasing, in the way my jaw unclenches, in the way my hands stop gripping and just rest. I don't have to move at the speed of my anxiety anymore. I don't have to match the pace of my racing thoughts. I can slow down. Because there's another rhythm available to me. A slower one, a steadier one. His rhythm I keep breathing in sync with Jesus. Our chests rising and falling together like we're connected by invisible strings. And for the first time in I don't know how long, I'm not trying to get anywhere. Not trying to be anything other than what I am right now. Just a person, lying in the grass, breathing. That's enough. More than enough. I don't remember falling asleep. One moment I was lying there, breathing with Jesus, listening to the lake, feeling my body sink deeper and deeper into the grass. And the next moment, light, not bright, not harsh, just there. A soft gray glow that's seeping through my eyelids. I don't want to open my eyes yet. I'm afraid of what I'll find. That it was all a dream. That I'm back in my bed, alone, with the noise already starting up again. But I can feel the grass beneath me, still damp, still cold. The ground is still hard under my back. And there's a rock or something digging into my left hip now instead of my shoulder blade. So, not a dream. I slept. Actually slept. Out here in the open. On the cold ground, for the first time in 3 days. I take a breath. It's easier than before. Slower. My chest doesn't feel like it's being squeezed anymore. Slowly, I open my eyes. The sky is no longer black. It's that strange in-between color. Not quite dark. Not quite light. Purple gray like someone smudged charcoal across the horizon. The stars are fading. Most of them are already gone. Just a few stubborn ones still hanging on. And in the east, where the sky meets the lake, there's a thin line of pale gold. Dawn. I turn my head to the side. Slowly, my neck is stiff. And there he is. Jesus. Still sitting beside me, cross-legged, facing the lake. His back is to me, but I can see his profile, the curve of his shoulder, the way his hair moves slightly in the morning breeze. He's watching the sun come up. I don't say anything. Don't move. Just lie there and watch him watching the horizon. There's something about the way he's sitting. Calm. Still. Like he's been there all night. Has he? Did he stay awake while I slept? The thought makes my throat tight. The lake is quieter now. The water barely moving. Just the smallest lapping sound. Gentle, almost hesitant. Like it doesn't want to disturb the stillness. There's mist hanging over the surface. Thin and wispy, it catches the early light and turns it silver. Everything feels softer somehow. Muted. Like the world is waking up slowly, carefully, not wanting to startle itself. I sit up. Slowly, my body protests. Everything aches. My back, my shoulders, my hips. Sleeping on the ground is nothing like sleeping in a bed. But I don't feel tired. Not the same kind of tired anyway. Not that bone-deep exhaustion that makes thinking hurt. This is just physical, the kind of sore that comes from actually resting instead of lying awake all night. Jesus turns his head, looks at me. He doesn't look surprised that I'm awake. Doesn't ask how I slept. Just smiles. Small, gentle. Morning, he says quietly. Morning, I say back. My voice is rough, scratchy. We sit in silence for a moment. He turns back to the lake. I follow his gaze. The line of gold is growing, spreading. The sky is starting to blush, pale pink mixed with the gray. You stayed, I say. It comes out more like a question than a statement. He nods. I stayed. All night? All night. I don't know what to say to that. Don't know how to hold the weight of it. That he sat here in the cold and the dark while I slept. That he watched over me. Why? I ask. It's barely a whisper. He's quiet for a moment. Then he says, because you needed to know someone would. My eyes start to burn. Not again. I thought I was done crying. But these tears are different. Quieter, less desperate. I blink them back. Focus on the horizon. The sun still isn't visible, but you can feel it coming. The way the light is changing, the way the air is shifting from night cold to something warmer, softer. I feel different, I say. I'm not even sure why I'm saying it. Just that it's true. Different how is less than #5. 0 hash is greater than I think about it. Try to find the words. Lighter, I say finally, like something I was carrying is less heavy. Jesus nods. You put some of it down. Did I? I don't remember consciously deciding to. But maybe that's the point. Maybe you can't decide to let go. You just stop holding on. It's still there though, I say. The worry, the noise. I can feel it waiting. I know, he says. It probably always will be. That's not the kind of thing that disappears. look at him. Then what was the point of all this? He turns to face me fully. His eyes are kind, patient. The point, he says slowly, is that now you know what else is possible. You know what it feels like to rest, to breathe, to let someone else hold the weight for a while. He reaches out, brushes a piece of grass off my shoulder. Such a small gesture, but it feels enormous. And now you know where to come back to, he continues. When it gets too loud again, when you start to feel like you're drowning. Here? I ask. This place. He shakes his head. Not just this place. This feeling, this breath, this stillness. He taps his chest. You carry it with you now. In here. I want to believe him. But I'm already starting to worry about going back. About stepping back into my life and having all of this disappear. Like he can read my thoughts. He says, it won't be as easy there. I know that. The noise will be louder. The demands will be heavier. The world will try to pull you back into its rhythm. He pauses, looks at me steady. But you don't have to go back to the way things were, he says. You can choose differently now. Not perfectly. Not every time. But sometimes, when it matters most. The sun breaks the horizon. Just a sliver at first. A bright curve of gold cutting through the gray. We both turn to watch it. It rises slowly, deliberately, like it's done this a million times before and knows exactly how it goes. The light spreads across the water, turns the mist into something almost magical. The lake catches fire. Not literally, but it looks like it. All gold and silver and shimmering. I've seen sunrises before. Hundreds of them, probably. But I've never really watched one. Never sat still long enough to see the way the light changes. The way the colors shift. The way the world transforms from one thing into another. It does this every day, Jesus says quietly, whether you're watching or not. Whether you're worried or not, whether you're ready or not, he glances at me. The world keeps turning, he says. The sun keeps rising. The grass keeps growing. None of it needs you to make it happen. I know what he's saying. I do. But it's hard to let go of the feeling that if I'm not constantly vigilant, constantly working, constantly managing, everything will fall apart. Old habits, I mutter. Old habits, he agrees, but not permanent ones. The sun is fully up now. A perfect circle of light. The sky around it is pale blue. The gray is gone. The stars are completely gone. It's a new day. Jesus stands, brushes the grass and dirt off his robe. He looks down at me, extends his hand. I take it. His grip is firm, warm. He pulls me to my feet easily. I'm unsteady for a moment. My legs are stiff, pins and needles in my left foot, but I stay upright. He doesn't let go of my hand right away, just holds it for a moment, looking at me. You can go back now, he says. Home. Your life. All of it. I nod, though the thought makes my stomach tighten. But remember, he continues, his voice gentle. Whenever it gets too loud, whenever you start to lose yourself in the noise, you can come back. Here. He smiles. If you want, but you don't have to. You can come back right where you are. Close your eyes. Feel the ground under your feet. Take a breath, a slow one. And remember this. He gestures around us. The grass, the lake, the morning light. Remember that you're not alone, he says. Remember that someone sees you, knows you, holds you. He squeezes my hand once, then lets go. But before he does, he says something else. Whenever I need, I can return to this peace. Pause. Whenever I need, I can return to this peace, because he is always waiting for me. He is always waiting. I look at Jesus standing there in the morning light, his face calm, his eyes warm, completely present, completely here. And I know it's true. Not just in some abstract theological way, but in a real, tangible way. He'll be here, in this grass, in this stillness, in this breath. Waiting. Whenever I need to come back. I take a breath. One of those slow, deep ones. The kind he taught me. In, hold, out, hold, my body remembers. Thank you, I say. It doesn't feel like enough, but it's all I have. He reaches out, pats my shoulder. You did the hard part, he says. You showed up. You stayed. You let yourself rest. Did I? It doesn't feel like I did much of anything. Mostly I just lay there and cried and tried not to think. But maybe that was the point. Go on, he says gently. The day's starting. People will be waking up soon. You should get back before they worry. I nod. Turn toward the path that leads back to the houses. Back to my life. But before I go, I look back. He's still standing there, watching me. One hand raised in a small wave. I'll be here, he calls out, whenever you need. I believe him. I start walking, slowly. My body is sore, but my mind is quieter. Not silent. The thoughts are already starting to creep back in. things I need to do today, people I need to see. But they're not screaming anymore. They're just there. Background noise instead of the main event. I pause at the edge of the field. Turn back one more time. Jesus is sitting again, cross-legged in the grass, facing the lake, watching the sun climb higher. Still, steady, there. Waiting. I close my eyes for just a moment. Feel the ground under my feet. Take one more slow breath. In, hold, out, hold. When I open them, the world looks the same. The same houses, the same trees, the same path. But something in me has shifted. Just a little. Just enough. I can come back here, to this feeling, to this breath, to this peace. Whenever I need. Because he'll be waiting